welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make an omelet, which is a really good thing to know how to make. You can make them for breakfast, for brunch, for lunch, for a really quick dinner, on a night when you don't know what you're going to have for dinner. You can make them for your mother, for Mother's Day, for a really fancy breakfast in bed, or for your father for Father's Day. It's just a really good thing to know how to make. I have the ingredients laid out here of the possibilities of toppings or things to put inside of our omelet. We're first going to start with eggs, and I am using 3 eggs in this omelet, and some ham and some grated cheese. You can use whatever cheese you like for this. I have some green onions out that I'm going to use for this omelet. I also put things out that I had in my refrigerator to show you, like some purple onion, some pepperoni. I had a little bit of a leftover tomato, some breakfast sausage that you could cook up and put inside the omelet, regular sliced cheese. You could use that instead of the grated cheese. You can use onions or green or red bell pepper and slice them up and fry them in a little bit of oil. You can use mushrooms. I also had some leftover potatoes and zucchini that would be good inside of an omelet. You can use whatever vegetable you like or have left over in your refrigerator. I'm going to start by getting the green onions and the ham and the tomato ready. If you have kitchen shears in your kitchen, this is a good time to use them because you don't have to get a cutting board out and you don't have to worry about cutting yourself with a knife. Start by cutting the hairy end off of the green onion. Then I cut the onion in half and bunch it together and start cutting it that way. It might be easier for you to just cut one piece at a time if you're new to cutting with the shears. And you still have to be careful that you don't cut yourself. So keep your fingers out of the way and very carefully cut the onions. It's still a very sharp tool, and you can cut yourself if you're not careful. So if you're a kid, you need to make sure an adult is with you in the kitchen when you do this step. If you're a beginning cook or a child, you might want to do it this way instead. And these are way more onions than you would need for one omelet. But if you cut more than you need, you can put them in a Tupperware container and store them in the refrigerator and use them for something else. Or you could also put them in the freezer and store them that way. I also use the kitchen shears to cut the ham and the tomato. So I just sliced it very thinly and then I went the other way so that I ended up with little squares of ham and tomato. I needed to use butter for the pan. You could also use olive oil if you prefer that, or a little bit of each. I got the fry pan out and put it on the stove and set the burner to a medium heat. I set it on 4. With the pan heating up on the stove, I start preparing the eggs by cracking them. I'm using 3 eggs, and this is kind of a shallow bowl. You may want to get a bigger bowl than this. This is a whisk. So you can use either a whisk or a fork to whip the eggs up, and I decided to use the fork. Whip them up until they're well combined. You can add a little bit of water if you'd like, or a little bit of cream or milk, or some seasonings, but I left it just plain. I'm putting about a tablespoon of butter into the hot pan and letting that melt. Swirl it around until the pan is well coated. Then add the egg mixture to the pan. I then seasoned with salt and pepper. If you're using a non-stick skillet, then you need to make sure you use a spatula that won't scratch the pan. So I got a spatula and I am pushing the egg mixture as it heats up. I'm pushing it to the middle so that the liquid part will run to the edges. As you can see, it's not taking very long for it to cook, but to make sure that the middle part sets up, I put a lid on top for just about 30 seconds. much set up in the middle now, and I go ahead and I sprinkle the cheese all over, and then I'll add the ham and the green onions and the tomato down the middle. At this point, I could have turned the heat down to low, and that probably would have worked out better, but I didn't. I left it on the medium heat. And that worked out fine too, but you may want to put it to a lower heat. I'm loosening the egg from the edges of the pan with a spatula, and then I flip over one side and then I flip over the other. With my plate ready, I go ahead and make sure that the omelet is loosened, and then I flip it out onto the plate. And what I like to do now, in case there is still a little bit of uncooked egg left in the middle, I like to put it in the microwave for 30 seconds or so. After the omelet is out of the microwave, I usually add some sour cream to the top. And I probably should have covered up that hole with the sour cream. But my husband likes sour cream on top of his omelets, so that's why I add the sour cream. And then I'm just garnishing with some green onions that are left. You don't need to put sour cream on yours if you don't like it that way. If you wanted to, instead you could put extra cheese on top and do that before you put it in the microwave, and then it would melt. So there I am, just cleaning the plate up a little. And so here we have an easy ham, cheese, and green onion omelet that you can have for dinner or breakfast or a special occasion. And I know it doesn't get an A+ in visuals on some of the close-ups, but my husband said that it was really good and tasty. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Bye-bye.